Mr. Burnett,
Present.
Ms. Johnson,
Present.
Mr. Langella,
Present.
Mr. Sacchinelli,
Present.
Ms. Smith,
Here.
Mr. Huvelman,
Present.
Mr. Roberts,
Present.
Ms. Revulis.
Here.
Ms. Young,
Here.
Mr. Kites,
Here.
Mr. Theodorides,
Here.
Mr. Keegan.
Here.
Mr. Sirenides,
Here.
Mr. Livingston,
Here.
Ms. Shanahan,
Here.
15 present. You have a quorum, Mayor.
Thank you. Next item is the acceptance of the minutes of the regular meeting of October 26, 2021. Do I have a motion? Moved by Mr. Roberts. Any corrections, deletions, omissions, additions? Seeing none, all in favor of approving the minutes as submitted? Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Next item on the agenda, public participation. Do we have anybody that has signed up to address the council? Hello? Has anybody indicated?
I'm not seeing anyone, Mayor. If you'd like to speak, please press *9 to raise your hands. I'm not seeing any, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Ms. King, do you have any correspondence which needs to be read into the record?
No, Mr. Mayor, I have none.
Does any council person have any correspondence which needs to be read into the record? Thank you. We will close public participation. Now we'll move on to, there are no resignations or appointments. Moving on to the mayor's remarks. This Thursday, starting at 9:30 in the Norwalk Concert Hall, there will be our annual Veterans Service. If you would like to join, just show up at 9:30. 9:30 to 10:30 is the music presentation. 10:30, the actual ceremony starts. 11 o'clock, there'll be a moment of silence, and at 11:30, the ceremony should be over. Next, as many of you know, this will be the last meeting for some of our council people. And I just want to take this opportunity to thank you all who are going to be leaving, people who have worked very, very hard on behalf of the city over the past couple of years. It's been a pleasure working with all of you. I think we've accomplished a significant amount of good for the city, and I think we can all be proud of what we have done, always working to make the city better, always working together, looking for ways that we can just help others and make this city move forward in the direction that we know we want to move. So again, thank you for your service. Some of you for 2 years, some of you for more, 4, perhaps 6. But it's been a true pleasure working with you as on this amazing team. So again, thank you for your service. You will be missed, and your knowledge and institutional knowledge that you take with you will also be missed. Next, I would like to thank another person who will be leaving, who has been with me for 8 years from the very beginning. As you know, Donna King, our city clerk, has decided that she's going to retire. She can't take much more of me, I guess. But, you know, I want to thank her for the professionalism that she brought to the position. I want to thank her for her organizational skills, her efficiency. She took the position of city clerk, and I think brought it to a whole new level of professionalism She's dedicated, hardworking, and just a pleasure to have on the staff. And she's going to be extremely, extremely hard to replace. So I want to say thank you to Donna for all that you've done and all the hard work that you've done. And I believe that we might have somebody that wishes to say a few words. I'll call on the rest of the council members in a moment, but we have somebody right there. I think Donna can see him and she's going to be brought to tears. Aaron, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mayor Rilling. And not only are AK your son's initials, I am in fact your son. So,
Oh, my God.
so thanks, Mayor, for letting me join your meeting. And also thanks to Sally for helping me put this together so quickly. But if you don't mind, I'd just like to take a second to say a few words about how proud I am of my mom. My first memories of my mom getting passionately involved with the city and in politics go back to when my brother Greg and I were pretty young. As mom became more active in the election process, she recruited the two of us to ride our bikes around the neighborhood and put political flyers on people's doorknobs. And it was actually a lot of fun. I also have clear memories of joining mom at Democratic headquarters to stuff and lick envelopes, although I liked stuffing the envelopes more than licking them. But the proudest moments came when mom, Donna Yakovachi King, ran for the council and won. And she ended up winning a council seat multiple times. And one of those times, after I turned 18, on my first chance to cast a ballot, I was able to vote for my own mother. And I still remember being in my dorm room, filling out that absentee ballot. Since then, you've continued to play important roles on the Democratic Town Committee, for the State Treasurer's Office, and now in the Office of the Mayor. And I'm sure I'm leaving out a lot of things in between, and I apologize. But Mom, you've dedicated much of your life to the city of Norwalk, the state of Connecticut, and of course to your family. Thanks for being such a great example to me, to Greg, and to your grandchildren. I'm so proud of you. I love you, and I can't wait to see what you will do next.
Thank you, dear. I love you. I love you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Well stated, Aaron. And yes,
Aaron,
go ahead,
Aaron,
Donna.
do you know why someone's knocking on my door?
That I don't.
While the mayor's talking, someone's knocking on my door. I don't know.
Not connected to anything I'm doing.
Answer it, Donna.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, any council person would like to comment at this time? Mr. Langella.
That's a tough act to follow, but Ms. King, just wanted to say thank you as well for your work. Even before joining the council, you've just been a wealth of institutional knowledge. So I echo Mr. Mayor's sentiments there. But I just wanted to thank you as a newcomer. When I joined, just making it a seamless transition, ensuring that I was ready to go from day one. So I certainly appreciate that. And you will be missed, but thank you for everything you've done in the past and wishing you the best of luck and success.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Thank you.
Mr. Livingston.
Thank you, Don. I just want to thank you as well. I mean, it's hard to follow up with what your son said. I won't even try and what Manny said, but you've been a real resource and a great person to have in the city. And we're really going to miss you. From all the times you've helped me and you've helped with permits and everything else, I truly appreciate it. And I truly appreciate your professionalism and all you've done. And thank you for your support.
My pleasure.
Ms. Smith.
Yeah, Donna, thank you so much. Thank you for everything you've done for the city, for the party, for this council. Your dedication has just been extraordinary. I feel so blessed to have gotten to know you. I wouldn't be here without you. You were the person who called me and said, I think that you should run for common council. And so here I am. And you have been a dear friend. I will miss you here greatly, but I look forward to many lunches at Cafe Dolce with you.
Yes, yes.
And I must say, it's so good to meet Aaron. Aaron, I've heard so many stories and wonderful family stories about you. So it's good to meet Aaron. Thank you,
Mr.
Don.
Burnett.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Don, it's hard to put in words the value that you brought to the council, but more importantly, how you've worked within District D in mining the pipeline in terms of working with individuals, providing them with information about the political process, which is not an easy process, but you've done it with such eloquence and patience to make those that were interested understand the process in a very easy manner. And that's no easy feat to do. So I want to thank you for working with all of the individuals across the city who have had interest in serving and providing that wisdom and guidance so they could be successful. So thank you so much for that.
It's been a long time, Greg, hasn't it?
It has been a long, long time.
Thank you, Greg.
Mr. Sacchinelli and then Mr. Keegan.
Ms. King, I wanted to thank you as well. And unfortunately, we can't present it to you in person as in years past we may have been able to, but I wanted to, on behalf of the entire council, we have a plaque dedicated to you for your time served that you, if you have not already received, you will be receiving soon. I wish I could have given it to you in person, and it's been such an honor working with you, and thank you so much for everything.
Thank you, Nick.
Maybe
I
that's
do
somebody
have it.
knocking at the door.
I hope it's my new phone.
Mr. Keegan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And on behalf of the Republican caucus, Donna, that would be me. Thank you for everything you've done for me personally and for us generally. Your service to the city has been wonderful and certainly appreciated by all of us. Thank you.
Okay.
If I may say something,
Yes,
I just
please.
want to say that I really enjoyed working with this council and all those who came before you. It's been great. The mayor knows that I think this is the best job I ever had, and he's what makes it so. So let's, I appreciate everything. It's going to be hard for us to break the bond, but I'll be around. Sergeant Galino said to me today, "So where are you going?" And I said, "What do you mean?" He says, "You mean you're staying in Connecticut?" I said, "Yeah, I am. I am. So I'm around, and I appreciate all of you. Thank you. I really enjoy working with each of you, and I'm here if you need me.
Thank you.
Not you, Mayor. Don't you call me.
Ms. Young. Right now, you're muted.
So Donna, I'm bringing up the rear in my fashion. I'm having problems with my internet, but finally got it together. So I just want to, I think I want to take a little different perspective. I have to say how touched and moved I was by just seeing your son here and seeing the emotion that came over you. You are a staunch Democrat. You manage with toughness, but with integrity. And I see now with tenderness when it's necessary. And I saw that in you with your son speaking about you. And one of the things that it makes me think about is we all give up something. And that's because our family allows us to. And just hearing how your children supported you in your effort is something to take to heart. I have two kids that I wish were voting for me, had the opportunity to vote for me and hand out flyers for me, but it didn't happen that way. I had those ideas, but it didn't happen that way. But I'm moved by that. And it just speaks to the special person and that you are and what you represent for your family. You're going to be missed. And so, as the mayor said, the professionalism that you continue to bring to the office, we're hoping that someone can fill your shoes and at least keep all that going. So, and congratulations on and the best of luck to what life has in store for you next.
Thank you, Darlene. Thank you. I know you've been there, and it goes back many campaigns and
Yes.
many years, right? Thank you.
Thank you.
Just
Do we
quickly,
find out who's at the door?
2013, shortly after I won election, I remember Donna saying to me, "I'd like to talk to you about one thing." I said, "What's that?" She goes, I'd like you to consider me for city clerk. I said, Donna, you didn't even have to ask. That was already a done deal. So we're very happy that you stayed with us for all 8 years, and good luck to you and Godspeed. And I know you're going to be around working very, very hard on behalf of the Democratic Party, as you have for a very, very big part of your life. So thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
So now I will turn the floor over to the council president.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll be brief as I often am, but I wanted to make sure to take the opportunity to congratulate all of the re-elected as well as the newly elected. I just want to thank everyone again in similar fashion as the mayor. I just want to thank those of you who have worked so hard and will no longer be serving moving forward. It was a great, this is my last meeting, and serving the city is always going to be one of my greatest honors. Working with this group was fantastic. Working with the residents is fantastic. And I just want to thank you all for everything that you've done during my time here and everything that you will continue to do. And with that, I do want to move forward to the consent calendar, which tonight is going to be read by Mr. Greg Burnett.
Thank you, Council President Sachinelli. The consent calendar for November 9th, 2021. 7A, Health and Public Safety Committee. 7A1, authorize the mayor, Harry W. Rilling, to execute any and all documents necessary to apply, accept, and implement grant funds from the 2021 Bureau of Justice Assistance Bulletproof Vest Partnership Grant in the amount of $20,000. Item 7A2, authorize the police chief, Thomas Kohalik, to execute any and all agreements, documents, instruments, and amendments thereto as may be necessary to implement the 2021 Bureau of Justice Assistance Bulletproof Vest Partnership Grant pursuant to funding. Item 7A3, authorize the mayor, Harry W. Rilling, to execute any and all documents necessary to apply for and accept grant funds from the Department of Justice under the fiscal year 2018 Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Assistant Grant in the amount of $36,609. Item 7A4, authorize the police chief, Thomas E. Kohalik, to execute any and all agreements, documents, instruments, and amendments thereto as may be necessary to implement all programs through the fiscal year 2018 Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Assistant Grant pursuant to such grant funding. Item 7A5, authorize the mayor, Harry W. Rilling, to execute any and all documents necessary to apply for and accept grant funds from the Department of Justice under the fiscal year 2020 Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Assistant Grant in the amount of $33,741. Item 7A6, authorize the police chief, Thomas E. Kohalik, to execute any and all agreements, documents, instruments, and amendments thereto as may be necessary to implement all programs through the fiscal year 2020 Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Assistant Grant pursuant to such grant funding. That completes the consent calendar for November 9th.
Thank you, Mr. Burnett. And I will call my last roll call vote. Mr. Burnett,
Aye.
Councilperson Dominique Johnson,
Aye.
Councilperson Manny Langella,
Aye.
Councilperson Barbara Smith,
Yes.
Councilperson David Hewleman,
Aye.
Councilperson Kadeem Roberts,
Aye.
Councilperson Diana Revolus,
Aye.
Councilperson Darlene Young, I see it connecting. We'll give her a minute.
Yes.
Councilperson John Kites,
Here. I mean, excuse me, yes.
Councilperson George Theorides,
Yes.
Councilperson Tom Keegan,
Yes.
Councilperson George Sirenides,
Yes.
Councilperson Tom Livingston,
Yes.
Councilperson Lisa Shanahan,
Yes.
and Nick Sacinelli. Yes, we are unanimous. Back to you, Mr. Mayor. You're muted, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Sacinelli, and thank you for your service as council president. Did you wish now to add that item to the agenda that we can add now?
We have one, if you'd like, or if you'd like to have the one last, item B1, whatever you prefer.
Why don't we do this one first, so we'll have the agenda ready to go for the two items that will be discussed.
Yes, sir. I'd like to make the motion to suspend the minutes to add an item.
So Mr. Sacinelli would like to suspend the rules to add an item. All in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Mr. Sacinelli.
Thank you, sir. I'd like to read into record and move the item. Authorize the purchasing agent, Sharon Connors, to issue a purchase order to Fitness Showroom Distribution for the purchase, delivery, and setup of fitness equipment of @5 Fire Station, bid number 4153, for the amount not to exceed $52,752.85. $47,670.85 will be paid by the Assistance to Firefighters Grant Program, and the remainder of $5,082 will be from account number -013120-5341. Just briefly to speak on the item, the fire department did identify a grant that will help them improve their fitness equipment in all the fire stations. I'm in favor of this. All of our firefighters deserve the best equipment possible. And I do know that in quite a few of our stations, the equipment is quite outdated. So this will help them bring all of their health and fitness equipment up to date to the current standards.
Thank you, Mr. Sacinelli. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of the item? Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Next item, Mr. Keides.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. If you don't mind, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to backtrack real quick. I wanted to speak to Donna, and I guess I missed my opportunity. Just want to quickly say, Donna, we've shared so many experiences over the years, either be with recruitment, politics, just everything under the rainbow. I just want to thank you for everything you've done. Your commitment and your dedication to Norwalk is unmeasurable. So thank you, and I wish you the best in retirement. And I'm sure those experiences will continue moving forward. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. All right, getting back to item B1, it's authorized the Mayor Harry W. Rilling to execute an agreement between the City of Norwalk and Fuss & O'Neill for design services for the Wall Street corridor improvement. A total amount not to exceed $350,000. I'd like to move that item and speak to it really briefly, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, Mr. Keides.
Thank you. A few months back, the city went out to secure proposals for the Wall Street corridor improvements. In recent weeks, there was a company chosen, Fuss & O'Neill, that's going to, if this all goes well, this item is approved tonight, we'll be moving forward with design services. The gist of those improvements include sidewalks, lighting, amongst other improvements in this area of West Belden, Mott, Wall Street area. Maps are obviously included in the bag of information. And I recommend anyone at home that's interested, please, it's very interesting information, and recommend you take a look at that. With us tonight, we have Mrs. Vanashek and Jim Travers. I don't know if Jessica, if you or Jim would like to just briefly speak to this item and then give us all and those at home a general consent idea of what we're proposing and what we're looking to do.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. I will give some general overview and then I'll pass it over to Jim and he can explain some of the details for you. But Jim came on board probably about 8 months ago. And one of the things that the mayor and I asked Jim to do was to focus on the capital budget, in particular, some of the items that had been on the capital budget for a number of years that we just didn't have a chance to move forward. And as you know, the transportation master plan was completed in 2012. And out of that master plan, the Wall Street Belden intersection was recommended to be able to tee up to help alleviate some traffic through Wall Street and help with pedestrian safety. And we know that we knew that recommendation came forward and we've been wanting to move that forward. And I think the 350 $350,000 that was on the capital plan, and the capital budget had been there for a number of years. And so, Jim is successfully moving that forward, and we're just really excited about it. We know that it marries really well with the DPW LOCSIP grant that is going to be happening in the next number of months, that focuses on street improvements between Main and Brook. And so it just really marries well with what we're doing. We know that we, as an administration, are really focused on Wall Street and improvements and being able to increase pedestrian use and mobility and connectivity. And that also relates to a large factor in safety and being able to really prop up our businesses from an economic development standpoint. So this project is just so important for so many reasons. And we're really happy to work with all of the departments in the city to be able to move this forward. And I'll pass it over to Jim to give a little bit more detail, but just really pleased that the team is moving this forward, and great work from Jim and the team.
Sure. Thank you, Jessica. Joining me also is Garrett Bilal, who's on the call too. So Garrett and I began the process of putting an RFP together. In August, on August 1st, we submitted the RFP. It was 90 some odd pages to what I think is a pretty comprehensive review of the area, and submitted it out. We did then a walkthrough with about 19 respondents, and walked the area through, giving a good detail. We had spent a considerable amount of time talking with local residents and business owners prior to that. And since the RFP is issued in the mayor's press conference, some additional folks out there. But it really is looking at normalizing the complex intersection at Belden and Wall there, and coming down Wall Street to Main Street, over to Main, to Burnell, up Burnell, back to Belden, and then back down, and then including River Street. After much negotiations with all of the respondents, we chose Fuss and O'Neill, not only because they're offering an opportunity to get the largest percentage of project area done under phase one, which would be the intersection, the complex intersection, all of Wall Street, and then the conversion of the one-way section of Burnell back to two-way. But they also, what they did really well is excelled in their community outreach. So we're really excited to work with the community as we redesign. This will be much more than simply just sidewalks and paving. We will redefine what Wall Street is and what it will be in the future. And we'll set, another heart of the city in there, and a really important village commercial district. And we're really excited to bring it to fruition. If anyone would like to, for us to show, pull up the area, the project area, we can do that. I'm happy to answer any questions that any of the council members have. So I'll open it up to you at this point.
Mr. Kites, sorry.
You're muted, Mr. Kites.
Apologize. A lot of times we put effort into plans and quality plans thought out, vetted, and we don't have the financings to implement them. And I was happy to hear at the planning committee meeting that Mr. Travers, that you feel confident that we're going to be able to secure grant funding in order to pay with the end result of what we get back from Fuss and O'Neill, which was very positive news. To know that the likelihood of this project moving forward after the plan has been drafted is very promising. So I want to thank you, Jim. I know you haven't secured that funding yet. I hope, and I wish you the best in your efforts. And,
so thank you, sir. We've had some very positive conversations on the first application that we put in. We put in a second application. Should both of those fail, I think we're very positive about the transportation dollars that were just announced coming from the federal government. So, and I've had some conversations with ConnDOT today on projects. So I'm pretty confident that once we finish design, I think this plan's a little different. It's not just doing a concept plan, but we're doing concept plan with the community and going right into final design. So we will have design documents and be ready for construction at the end of the project. So
That's great.
at that point in time, we will have a shovel in the ground.
That's great. At a time when, I mean, I think you're aware, and everyone on pretty much on this call is aware that we're spending a lot of money with school improvements and large scale projects that capital budget is, let's just say, being utilized to its fullest potential. So any grant funding would be much appreciated. Thank you.
Okay.
And Mr. Livingston.
Thank you. I just wanted to commend Jim and Garrett and Jess for moving this forward and bringing it to us. I mean, it's a really important step in the revitalization of this area. We all know it's been suffering, if you will, for a long time. And I think this is a really important step in improving walkability, improving traffic flow, and making it altogether more desirable for the residents. And it's a great improvement. So thank you for bringing it forward, and I look forward to seeing the next step, design that comes out of this.
Look forward to working with you on it.
Any further discussion? Mr. Hovelman.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to say thank you to Jim and Garrett and to Jess for, taking something that was in the capital budget from a while back and moving it forward and bringing it to fruition. And I think that's a positive, especially for the area that it is. That intersection that we're specifically talking about is a dodgy intersection. I'm glad that we're going to pay some attention to it, but paying attention to it with an eye to the entire corridor and the entire area. So I want to say thank you very much for the work that you put in, and I look forward to what's going to come. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Ms. Smith.
I can't say more than has already been said, but I do want to thank you, Jim and Jessica, for your work.
Ms. Young.
So I really have a question. So given the dollars that are coming from the federal government that was just announced for infrastructure, has that, or do you think that will change the timeline of this project?
So the biggest part of the timeline really is it's about 12 to 18 months from the point of time that we sign this purchase, we sign the agreement with Fuss O'Neill till we actually get the construction documents in hand. That's a pretty tight time frame, considering the fact that really we are committed to making sure that the community has a voice and a leading voice into what their new Wall Street looks like. So the minute we have the contract signed, we've already had some preliminary conversations with the consultant about hitting the street, knocking door to door, and then setting up. We'll have virtual meetings, we'll have one-on-one face meetings, we'll have community meetings. But I think that's a critical component to the success of moving it forward. It's also a really critical component to ensure that we secure some type of funding, right? Either state or federal funding to make it happen. And we're using this time to, we've already written 2 grants and we don't even have an agreement in place yet, right? I think what we will see is the minute that we have construction documents in hand, our plan is to have funding secured so that we can have a shovel in the ground. Whether that shovel hits for phase 1 or all 3 phases at the same time is yet to be determined. But we're also engaging the parking authority for some modernization to the Bell Street garage, which we hear from the community as well, is a dated structure that doesn't make people feel welcome to use it. So, we're going to be converting Burnell to 2-way to have better access to that facility, so that facility could serve the neighborhood in a more efficient manner. So the DPW will start soon on the lower Wall Street section. Then hopefully when we're in that, we'll have some type of work that will look at the parking structure. So the community should hopefully see some real boots hitting the ground here, getting some things done, and as well as the community engagement and their process that brings them along. So I think they'll participate in it and see something. But I feel really comfortable that even with the funding that's in place, it's going to take a little while for us to make sure that we have the right project and that we do it right. I think it's important that we take the necessary time to get this right. And I think that the 12 to 18 months is the right time frame.
Thank you, Mr. Burnett.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is a great project to get off the ground. My question is, the success of this project, is it your thinking that this might become a model that can be replicated in other parts of the city, so that we can see the good work that's going to be done in the Wall Street corridor also done in other parts of the city? And if the answer is yes, are there any thoughts as to what parts of the city we might look to replicate this?
So I think what we're gonna look simultaneously with this as something that we hope to approach with you soon is some adoption of some complete streets legislation. And I think that even absent of full complete streets legislation, that we will design this in the best model that's chosen forward. I think that is what Garrett and I have a huge history of. We have a history of building projects that win national awards that set the tone for what it is. We will listen to the community. We will understand the best practices. We understand through COVID that people want to share the outdoor space, that they want to walk, that we need to create a walkable city. And I think we're making steps to do that, sir. We're looking very heavily at how we increase the number of sidewalks that are through the city. We've successfully worked with the Department of Public Works to reduce some of the travel lanes to 10 feet, which actually helps you reclaim some of the roadway and reduce speeding, which we hear as a common concern. But one of the things that I think will be front and center for this project will be a pedestrian focused project, right? One that will allow people to navigate the streets outside of a car, park once, visit a couple of different establishments that I'm sure will be there. I think I said this in the press conference with like, if you build it, they will come. And I think that, if we build it right, they will most definitely come, and we'll replace, I believe this will set the stage for what we look at and how we look at other opportunities throughout the city. But I think what's unique about us is that we can take each, we have Norwalk as a whole, and I think we need to create something that's uniquely Norwalk, but I think we also need to create something that's uniquely part of this community and really responds to them as well as we hit every other community to doing that. And I think we're looking at other sections of the city to do similar things, and they might be much smaller projects, but I think it is really one that it improves pedestrian, cyclist, and motorist safety. We need to reduce our number of accidents. We need to reduce speeding in the streets. We need to make the streets more walkable. The track behind City Hall, and Garrett and I said this all the time, and we go and we talk to the people who walk behind there. It doesn't make a difference, what time I come in the morning or what time I leave at night. Somebody is walking around in that, and they're walking there because they want to have exercises, but more importantly, as our conversations have had with them, they're walking there because they don't have the ability to walk around their neighborhood. So they're getting in cars and they're becoming the traffic that is annoying to us, right? Just so that they can get exercises. And I think to be part of community, you need to be able to have that walkable streets. And I hope that what we replicate here is just really creating that community across the city.
Thank you. Any
Just to
further
add,
discussion?
I'm sorry, Mayor, just to add something. I was talking to Garrett earlier today, and Garrett made a really interesting point and observation as someone new to our city, which was that with the 6 different taxing districts, sometimes we get a neighborhood feel or we get a community feel for each of those districts. And one of the things that he was saying was that TMP is really focused on not only the mobility within each of the taxing districts and neighborhoods, but really making sure that the connectivity and the circulation makes sense between each of the different neighborhoods and the communities. And I think that this project in particular is one that's extremely important. We know that there's only so many east-west connections with the water, and Wall Street has 2 major crossovers there. And so this is one of those not only circulation within the Wall Street area, but thinking about the impact to the transit busway as well, and thinking about how the circulation of those buses work. So I mean, just a really interesting point that Garrett made earlier today that I thought you'd be interested in hearing, which is not only about each community and each neighborhood, but actually making sure that the connections between those communities make sense so that we're thinking of the city as a whole.
Thank you. Ms. Revoluz.
Jessica, I just wanted to say thank you for saying that point. Because, and in doubling back on the question my peers have asked, it's beautiful to have these individual sections for walking, especially as a person who has a car but is a valid walker around here. But making this a connective town as one, especially as and finding ways actually maybe in making walk patterns and paths that are connected throughout Norwalk, but removed almost from like our streets, and making it easier connectivities to get places like from South Norwalk to Route 7 or you know, Connecticut Avenue in a walking way, but quicker, accessible with paths or shortcuts, I think really should be looked at, not just making little cohorts of South Norwalk, Water Street accessibilities, but finding functional ways to make it that, you know, if you're in C, you can be in B. We find ways to keep it that we're in our cul-de-sacs. And if we could, especially for me, like I say, a holistic Norwalk, walking, making sure we're eating and healthy, but connected with each other, especially with walking. If we can just really enhance pathways that connect us, not just little cohorts of beautiful places, but those walk paths are connected and go through each other, I really hope would be a part of the continued plan of this. But this is a great job you guys are doing.
Thank you.
I think you touched on a really great point, is like these paths that we have throughout the city. So
Right.
what's really interesting about Wall Street is actually the NRVT and the Future Harbor Loop Trail. They run through Wall Street, but you would never know that with the way conditions exist today. So one of the things that we'd love to look at is how we bring those paths into the neighborhood, and then how we make them really stand out and give them a sense of identity in place. And that's just one example of how we can start to bridge those gaps.
Right. Thank you. That's the perfect example. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion or comment? Okay, well, I want to thank everybody, Jim and Garrett and Jessica. This is a game changer for the Wall Street area. This is the first major improvement we've seen in that area in many, many years. And it's going to make a tremendous difference, not only to the businesses, but to the people who live in the area. And I think it's going to be something that will be a catalyst for more things to happen in that area. So again, thank you for all the hard work, not only for TMP, but others who participated. So seeing that, I will call the vote. All in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? No surprise there. Thank you. Ms. Revoluz.
First, I want to say thank you for this group, especially coming into this. Nick, you were a great chair. Everyone, you were so supportive. You guys mean a lot more than you think, especially for starting in the middle of a pandemic. That being said, I would really like to give a motion to adjourn.
Not yet.
And my partner.
Sorry, partner, not yet.
Notice how she snuck that in there.
Oh, I'm sorry, I did it too early. I'm so sorry. Did I do it too early?
Ms. Revoluz has made a motion to adjourn.
Oh, I did. Okay, yeah. Yeah,
Not
and my
yet.
partner, not yet. Did I do it too early?
Too soon.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I'm sorry. What did I miss? I'm so sorry.
Is there another?
Is there some, what else?
Mr. Livingston?
Oh, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to also thank the retiring members, Nick, George, Kadeem, Manny. It's been a real pleasure working with you guys over the last, Nick, you from the beginning, and everybody else from later years. Through it all, I know you guys, how hard everybody's worked. I know through it all that you work together we've all worked together for the betterment of the city. And I think it really shows in everything we've done. And I really do appreciate all you've done. I wish you the best going forward. I'm sure our paths will cross again. George, we'll have to find somebody else to drive the trucks or go on those, to go out on those snow plows. You can, but no, I really miss you guys, and I wish you the best. And thank you for all you've done.
Thank you, Mr. Livingston. Ms. Young.
I just want to say thank you to each and every one of you on this council. I came on filling a vacated seat, and I'm still here, surprisingly. But I've learned so much from each and every one of you. And I'm honored and humbled to be back in this position again. I'm looking at each and every, George, I learned so much from you and how you ran your DPW committee and your commitment and dedication to the city. And I know that DPW, the staff, really appreciated all of your input and effort and support. And whoever takes that on has got really big shoes to fill, because you did a fantastic job in leading that.
Very true.
Nick, I have to say, sometimes voting is contentious, right? But, I often feel that everybody deserves an opportunity for leadership. And I think you just did a phenomenal job in leading. And who would have thought that, your little baby would be the reason you're leaving us? But that's a good reason. We will miss you. I think there's always opportunity to come back once she's much older, if she lets you or your wife lets you. So good luck to you and your family in the future. And I just really, I actually wish I was sitting on your committee too. Who else is there that I'm looking at? I'd like to see the real George Theodorides before we leave today.
Yes.
If we could make that happen,
Yes.
George, show your face.
Yes.
We'd love to see that. I heard your voice, but I'd love to see your face. I'm so happy for all of us who came back. I think we've got a lot of work to do, and just ready to get the ball rolling again. Did he show his face yet?
No.
Oh boy. But I will miss you guys. I really will. And Manny, I can't see you, Manny. I have to say that, a lot of times I feel like sometimes people just, come to the city and say, oh, I want to do this. But I have to say that Manny really committed to District B, to the community, the district that he lived in. And he did, he was on committees, he was doing things in the community before he even moved up to this point. And I just so appreciate his commitment and passion for doing the work. And I say to anybody, you just don't need to be on the council to do good things. A lot of work gets done outside of this arena too, a lot of the real work. And so stay engaged, hold us accountable, come to the meetings, don't talk too much, but hold us to task.
There's George Theodorides.
Where is he?
Hi, George.
Hi, George. Hi, George. Hello and goodbye, right? So, you know what, George, sometimes we do things and at least, it was 2 years and you were on the council. It was an experience. You could say you had one, right?
Absolutely. And I thank you all.
Thanks. I'm done.
Any
I'll be
further
quiet.
discussion? Ms. Smith.
Yes, I would just like to take a moment to thank the outgoing members for your service, for working with you. I want to wish you all the very best. Nick, especially you and I have, shared the experience of leading this council through COVID, and it certainly brought its challenges. So we'll always share that. But mostly I just really want to wish you and Crystal and Aria the very, very best. And hope that your family will continue to grow. And thanks for leading us this past year.
Mr. Sirenides.
Well, I guess it's my time, my turn to thank everybody. Thank you, everyone. It was really an honor and a privilege and a learning experience. I think everybody at some point should do a little bit of public service. It really opens your eyes to how much is involved. And for mostly a thankless job, but there is a sense of accomplishment when it's all done. And it's the friendships you take away from it that are most important. Obviously, even though we won't be on the council, we're still going to cross paths and see each other. So I look forward to seeing everybody. And who knows what happens down the road. 2 years tends to go by very quickly, as we all know, because it's by the time you're done campaigning and running, you're back to campaigning and running again. And one last time, Ms. King, thank you very much for everything you've done. And I wish you a happy retirement. And I know I'll be in touch with you. We'll talk again down the road. So it's not goodbye. It's just a see you later and not online kind of good night. So, but again, thank you very much, everybody. Thank you, Darlene, for the kind words. And I'll always be around, as you know.
Further, Ms. Young.
Mayor, I forgot, I can't see a full screen and I didn't say Kadeem. And so, Kadeem should not go anywhere. I'm sure you'll be back, in one way or another, my friend. And I just put it out there. I know that I'm old because Kadeem was one of my summer youth employment program participants. I'm scared, but I just am so happy to have been on the council with him. So we'll see you soon, Kadeem, in one way or another.
Further discussion. Mr. Hooverman, then Mr. Kites.
Just simply want to say thank you to everyone for the service that you put in. It's an important thing. I think what Mr. Sirenides said about public services is very true. And thank you for the time that you've given and your commitment. And thanks.
Mr. Kites.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. I mean, I really hope, guys, that for all you departing, I mean, you're all dear friends of mine. We have a bond that's stronger than any title that we may hold. And I really hope the experiences, your experiences over the last few months don't discourage you from staying involved. I think you've been an asset to the city, and I'm hoping both new and old council members can learn from your experience to speak your mind and not be so concerned about the political ramifications, but just doing what is right. So I hope that will roll over and really shed a light with, like I said, both new and old council members. And like I said, you're all dear friends of mine, and I know I will continue to have you in my lives, and it's been a pleasure serving with you. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further comments? Well, this is kind of bittersweet for me because I have a whole new group of volunteers that I might be able to tap for a board or commission someplace. So if you feel a tap on your shoulder, don't be surprised. But because of your commitment to the city, I'm sure that a board or commission would be something that you would excel in as well. So if there are no further comments.
I keep to my motion.
Ms. Revolus has continued her motion to adjourn. All in favor? All opposed? Abstentions? So good night and thank you for your service.
You guys are all amazing.
Sayonara.
Thank you all, everyone. Good night.
Good night.